So those who like me to continue reading Radha Damodar Vilas, you please type 1. And those who like that I tell you my experiences, that you type 2. So everyone quickly vote. I can see there are 25 devotees. So quickly vote. We will go as per the majority. So quickly everyone vote. 1, if you want me to continue reading. 2, if you want me to describe all the experiences that I had. And many people with whom I dealt with, traveled with, stayed at their home are here, I can see. So Damodar Prabhu, you take a poll once everyone has voted. Quickly vote everyone. I can see that many people are still to vote. Damodar Prabhu, your vote also should be there. Ashma Mataji is still to vote. Avinash Prabhu is still to vote. Digvijay is yet to vote. Gauri Mataji, Gaurav Prabhu, Ishan Prabhu is yet to vote. Purnima Desai, Dr. Mataji, you are still to vote. Vikas Prabhu, you are yet to vote. Hema Mataji, you are yet to vote. So quickly vote. So someone is asking me on WhatsApp, what is the poll? The poll is you have to vote 1 if you want me to continue reading the book for today, and 2 is if you want to hear the experiences that I had in the last 1.5 years. So Damodar, please go ahead and count the votes and tell us, because we can't spend more time. It's already 4 minutes that are already spent. Atul Babu, you would like to vote?
Most of voted for 2, so we'll go with 2.
So how much is for vote
Most
for 1?
Most of them is voted for 2 seconds.
2. So how many are for 1 and how many are for 2? Any count? Okay, so Damodar Prabhu is saying that we should vote for 2. The most of the votes are for 2. Okay.
All have voted for 2.
Okay, good. So there most of the votes are for 2, huh? Great. So then, okay, I will describe what were the experiences. Yeah, I can see all are 2 only. Why most? Each one of them has voted for 2. Okay. So I started on 6th early morning, and everyone is requested to mute their phones so that the background voices do not come. Thank you. So I had gone to Jammu. I flew from Goa to Jammu, and I attended the marriage of one of our devotees. She's a Mataji, she's a doctor, a skin specialist, and her brother is a very good friend of mine. His name is Umang, and his sister also, I know her very well, who got married. And the greatest achievement in this marriage was that her husband has taken interest in Krishna Bhakti. Actually, today I was busy in office work. I did not get enough bandwidth to call him. But after the marriage, I went and met her husband at her home, this Mataji. And he was so interested that I saw him so interested that, I took a pen and paper, and whatever I was explaining, I made notes in that and gave him. So fortunately, he has taken a lot of interest in Bhakti. His name is Rohit Ji. And we have to know that, any preaching happens not only by giving class, but by seva. So it so happened is that she got married on 7th, and she and her husband all of a sudden decided to go to Goa. Now just imagine, I'm in Jammu still for the next marriage, the second marriage, and this husband and wife flew down to Goa. And I came to know that they're flying to Goa when they were at the airport in Delhi at 10 o'clock at night. So I thought, we should give them some nice help in Goa. So I called up Sandesh Prabhu. and I asked Sandesh Prabhu if he could pick them up from the airport and drop them to the hotel. So Sandesh Prabhu did a great seva and a great feat. He traveled a distance. For those who are from Goa will understand, he traveled from Bhoma to the airport. That I guess is not less than 35-40 kilometers. From there, he dropped them to North Goa, which is another 50 kilometers or 55 kilometers. And from there, he went back to his home. So he traveled a distance of more than 100 kilometers just to pick them up and drop them, whom he did not even know. And they, husband and wife, were so taken aback. They felt so nice. The first impression or the first touch that they got with the devotee was Seva. At least I went to their marriage. I had Prasad there. I met them, whatever. But Sandesh Prabhu was one who had not met them just because they are devotees. And he was so. First thing, he was feeling very shy, Rohitji, to let him be received. But he agreed because we pushed him. But then he became so impressed that he was asking me, he wanted to meet Sandesh Prabhu. He wanted Sandesh Prabhu to go to their home. He told us, if you want, I will pick you up from your home and take you. So that was the first achievement that we should say. Other than that, then after that, then I traveled to Karnal. I met so many devotees. After that, I traveled to Delhi and stayed with Gaurav Prabhu for a few days, for a couple of days, I think 2 nights. Then I came back to Jammu for the second marriage. So second marriage also went off very well. The arrangements were very nice. I actually, the greatest thing was that I was there for the marriage. Damodar Parsikar Prabhu was there for the marriage. Sandesh Prabhu was there for the marriage. And I had booked my ticket much in advance. But Sandesh Prabhu and Damodar Prabhu could book it much later, and it was very, very expensive ticket. I guess it was in excess of 16,000 rupees one way. But still they came, and the people in whose house the marriage was, Abhishek Prabhu and his family, they were so much impressed that just because we have invited them, these two devotees are spending so much of time and so much of money to fly all the way to Jammu just to attend our marriage. So they were very, very impressed. And Sandesh Prabhu and Damodar Prabhu were taken very good care of there in Jammu. So was I. So Damodar Prabhu, would you like to add something? Your experiences in Jammu? Damodar Prabhu, would you like to add your experiences? Damodar Parsakar Prabhu?
Yeah, can you hear me?
Your voice is
I
cracking.
don't know whether the range is proper.
No, you are not audible. So you can
Yeah,
either
my
come into
range
the
is not proper. I don't
now
know.
now you are this. Now you are
Yeah.
there. You can be heard now. You please go ahead.
Okay. It was the first experience was that after reaching Jammu, my phone was not functioning because there only prepaid this SIM cards works, and I had the first problem of reaching the site where I had to go. So, hello, can you hear me?
Yeah, you are audible, clearly audible.
Yeah. Okay, so I was waiting at the gate, and hello, and Prabhuji came to collect me, and he was also waiting for a long time. So it was like first experience of humility, which I can say after reaching Jammu, and also the hospitality of people of Jammu and all the devotees which I met. It was one of the great things to see. Also their culture, like you have to you have to bend and touch the legs. So it is a etiquette which I can see in Jammu. It was a very good thing. We have not experienced such things in at least in Goa.
No, the southern part it is very less.
So
West
it was
and south.
yeah.
Go ahead, Damodar.
And also the difference, yeah. Also the wedding, which was completely different experience, was it's a great thing to see the culture and difference of I think cultures, you can say. And the wedding was also completely different. Their culture, like takes it takes place at midnight till early morning, and
So Damodar,
also
you
it was
attended that?
too cold for us. No, I could not attend because it was too cold that day, and because we didn't have much sleep because we had traveled at night, and so it was not possible to stay awake till early morning. So we went by 1 o'clock, I think, to sleep. Mm. Overall, after reaching, we have also checked out Arespura border, the India-Pakistan border, which was close by, and there was also a Raghunath Mandir, which was very old, I think, around 700, 500 year old. So it was quite an experience.
Okay, thank you very
I
much, Damodar
think
Prabhu.
myself sure.
Yeah, go ahead, go
You
ahead, go ahead.
continue.
So for those of you who are
No,
listening carefully,
you go ahead.
okay. So for those of you who are listening carefully, I have just posted a picture on the Sankirtan group, if you can see. So the first picture that I have posted is the picture of when we visited the house of one very nice and kind friend of ours, whose name is Avinash Sharma. He's here now with us in the discussion. So if you can, I hope everyone is seeing that. So in that, if you can see, his whole family came to see us off. You know, we went to their house, they took care of us, they offered us many different kinds of food, breakfast. They had also started cooking lunch for us. No, he took us, Avinash Prabhu took us to a very beautiful Narsimha Mandir, This is at a place called as Gagwal. Avinash, how far is Gagwal from Arespura?
So it's around,
Avinash?
I think, 60 kilometers.
60 kilometers, okay. So it is, first thing, Jammu is so remote, and we went still ahead of from there. And see, this is village life. Village in here in India, in cities, if any comes, we just say bye bye and they go on their own. They take the lift and go elevator. But in the village, it is Vedic way. That if you can see this photograph that we have taken, it is just close to the gate of Avinash Prabhu. So from here, if you take 3-4 steps out, you are on the main road, right? So if you can see there on the leftmost side is Avinash in that photo. Then next is his mother. Avinash, your mother is there, no? Second one in the photo.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, and then his Bhanja is there. His sister also had come down to his place. Then it is his Dadi. Then there is Shubham Prabhu, then me, and then Abhishek Prabhu, for whose brother's marriage we had gone. So that is how it was. And there is a very beautiful temple of Narsingh Dev in Gagwal, so where Avinash took us first. Then he took us to his home. They offered us breakfast, and his mother had already started cooking. But because we had promised someone else to go for lunch, we could not honor his request for the breakfast. So second picture, if you can see that I have posted, is me with Ankush. So Ankush Prabhu got married on 21st, and if Damodar Prabhu was explaining about the culture, so this is how they dress for the marriage. Now, of course, these photos may not be very amazing for people who are from Jammu, but for people from Goa or who are non-Jammu Jammuites, for them this would be quite a different scene. So that everyone can see that how he is dressed, and I will share a few more pictures with you, and I think pictures can describe better than anything else. So I just want a quick opinion from someone. Is it getting boring? If it is getting boring, then we will just do something else. For me, it makes a lot of sense because I went there and I am very fond of those places. But if anyone is feeling boring, then we could move on with something else. So I'm posting a few more pictures of the marriage, so everyone can have a look. Yeah, everyone has got. Okay, why not Avinash speaks for some time? Avinash, can you speak about how you became a devotee? How did you find changes in after becoming a devotee? Avinash, would you like to speak? Avinash Sharma? Ji,
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
please,
Sir,
please go ahead.
my friend Arpit had tell me about yours that you have started chanting classes and Bhagavad Gita classes. So after that, I think around last year, around July or August month, had he had told me that
Hmm.
you have started this chanting classes. Before that, I did not chant a lot, but after that, when I started chanting, there is a lot of changes comes in my life, um, like mentally and both I think in studies as well. So it's nice, goes nice right now, to be honest.
Good, good. Thank you very much. Uh, next, I will request Ashish too. If you are you able to speak or you are traveling? Because after Jammu, me, Ashish Prabhu, and Damodar Prabhu, we all went to the Vrindavan with another other few devotees, totally 12 of us. So, Ashish Prabhu, are you able to speak or you are traveling? Ashish?
Prabhu, 1 second. I'll just move out of this place.
Okay, okay. So
Okay.
Ashish Prabhu
Yeah, Prabhu.
unfortunately could not come. Yeah, Ashish Prabhu unfortunately could not make it for the marriage, but he joined us nevertheless in Vrindavan. So it was his first Vrindavan trip. So Ashish, please go ahead and tell everyone how it was and
And yes,
what you are.
yes, it was, lifetime trip, I would say, because most of people I met, when I came back, they said, you didn't go there by yourself. Krishna called you. And it's the best feeling I got, that I'm the lucky one and I got, manifested my dream, to go to Vrindavan. It's like in my village also, where I stay. So my one of the devotee, who is into ISKCON, my neighbor, she said, you have been called there, despite a lot of problems what I faced. No, I told you I faced a lot of problems with my phone. Both my phones, screen went off, and then some problem with my, some dad's health, and then a lot of things, which was actually I thought, I'm going to miss this Vrindavan trip. But then, eventually Krishna made that happen, and I'm really, I'm feeling very lucky that I've been there. And from day one when I have been there, I feel I feel elevated now. I'm more connected to God, and my bhakti, as I told you, has increased to, I think, 200 folds. Even my chanting or whatever, I'm more connected to God now.
Great, great.
Hello.
So Avinash, Ashish too, could you quickly share a few photographs and then you can explain if you can just share 3-4 photographs on the Sankirtan group.
Prabhuji, sorry, because I'm outside now. So 1 second, but still, no, because this phone I was not carrying. I was carrying another phone. So now my
Okay,
phone
okay,
is all
okay.
right. I've replaced the screen and I'm using other
Damodar
phone.
Patsakar too, can you share some pics? So we can, okay, I have some. I will try to share them so that we can show you all what we enjoyed. So I am sharing some pictures with you all.
Prabhuji, I would like to mention one more, incident,
Yeah, please go
which I
ahead.
was, what I thought was, not to mention it to, because it was very, close to my heart. That feeling never happened to me anytime, because I was not into, I always believed in God, but I was not so connected to any of, like I have never experienced this. See, when I was coming back, no, this our Verma brothers, yeah, I was with them, and while
Suraj
leaving
Verma.
that early, yeah, Suraj Verma, yeah. So that day he said, I'm going for the last darshan, like, before leaving, I'm going for the darshan. And then eventually, even I got up early. That, I said, we sleep, till late at home. At Vrindavan, we have to get up, no. So then I don't know, it was cold also that day, but I got up and then I went. We all went there. It was long, queue was there. Then eventually I thought, maybe Krishna didn't want to give, darshan. That's what I thought. And then I said to Verma also that, Suraj, अगर हमारा कनेक्शन अगर कृष्णा के साथ अच्छा है ना, तो हम लोग कैसे भी करके प्रसाद लेके जाएंगे. And eventually you won't believe, even chadawa, even what we did, there was a big queue, but what we did, we just went across that rope, and nobody stopped us. It was like we are invisible to the guards. I'll tell you, really, this is a miracle, I would say. And people who were following, no, they were being blocked there. And then Suraj had brought some these dry fruits and for chadawa. And that pujari, this one, no, he came and collected over this one and gave us the chadawa. And I was like, I don't know how to explain. And while leaving, no, I just looked at the eyes of the Krishna Balram and also Radharani and this one, and I literally I literally cried that day. I didn't wanted to mention this thing, but as you said, bhakti has to be um, uh, shared as much possible. You should not keep it within you. That's what you said. That's the reason I mentioned it today. So this was
nice.
my experience.
So one more incident I can just remember. I have shared many photographs from Vrindavan, so all of you can have a look. I had been to the home of Pranav also. So Pranav, his parents, his sister, they took very nice care of me, and they arranged nice dinner for me that day. So Pranav, you would like to say something? Pranav Rena? Pranav, can you hear me? I think Pranav is not able to hear, or there is some issue. Okay, fine. Gaurav Prabhu, you would like to say something? Gaurav? I don't know where some people, I could see them, but they are disappeared somewhere, some of them. Okay. So, okay, I can mention many other names also. Arpit Bharti ji is here. He is an advocate. He's going to soon practice. He's also going to become a judge after some time. So I happened to meet him there, and I met many others also. And in Vrindavan, we, as Ashish Prabhu was telling, we had a very great time, and so many things. We also went to a place called as Suchetgarh border, in Jammu. So that was also a nice experience, where we were understanding the importance of unity, because we did not have unity. The country got divided, and more than 1/3 of the country got, into became a foreign country. So we should all be united, irrespective of where we are, and we should be united as devotees of the Lord, because this is the only land where you have the freedom to practice bhakti and to improve ourselves. Right. So this is a lesson that we have to learn from the partition of India into India and Pakistan. Right. Bahar, Prabhu, you like to speak something? You have been to Vrindavan. Can you share your experiences in Vrindavan? Bahar?
Sir, आता याद ना का. Hello.
याद ना?
नाही सांगतो.
So Bahar Prabhu is telling that he cannot remember, because it was pretty ago, long time ago, that he went to Vrindavan. I think it was in September 2018, Mare? 16. So he went in 2018. So he doesn't remember, he says. Okay, doesn't matter. So in short, this is what it was. Basically, it was relationships everywhere. So let us pray to Radha and Krishna and to Prabhupada that very soon he takes us to Vrindavan. We are planning that very soon. I don't know when. Now it will not happen in 2021, but in 2022, assuming that Corona doesn't take a third wave and everything goes well, we will try maybe for June, July, sometimes, to have yatra to Vrindavan. So depending on the Corona scenario, situation, pandemic, how it pans out, we will decide. So let us all start praying from today that we could go to Vrindavan, because as Ashish Prabhu was telling and as some devotee told him, that we could enter Vrindavan not by a ticket, but only by the blessings of Lord Krishna and more importantly Radharani, right? So let us all start praying from today, and you can see the beautiful pictures of Vrindavan that I have shared with you. There is a video also, a short video also that I have got from one of the devotees. So they have done. So that is it. So I think anyone would like to ask any questions, then they can ask quickly. Otherwise, then we'll start reading. Would anyone like to ask any questions or like to know more about what we discussed now? Then you can quickly ask. Otherwise, then we will go and start reading. Anyone? Or if anyone wants to add something to whatever has been spoken, Pranav, Gaurav Prabhu, anyone. Digvijay. No one wants to add something? Okay, if no one wants to add, then I have to start reading. That is the message, clear and loud and clear. So we'll read as long as the meeting is there. And then we will meet tomorrow for the Bhagavad Gita class, right? So 14th wave, the marriage trust, that is the name. Husband and wife engaging in the service of the Lord is real marriage. And a man and a woman combined without service to Krishna is animal life. Trust I'm audible. Berkeley, March 1971. Honoring the appearance day of Lord Chaitanya is now an annual festival in Berkeley, attracting devotees from all over California. Not quite as big as Ratha Yatra, it is nevertheless equally blissful. Jayananda Prabhu, as always, takes responsibility to ensure the festival will be a big success. Madhudvisha has started the Lord Chaitanya festival in Berkeley in 1970 before he left to take sannyas. Berkeley Temple was going through an identity crisis at the time because San Francisco had the big Ratha Yatra festival and they wanted to do something special as well. So the idea was born to have a parade through the streets of Berkeley and a festival in the park to celebrate Gaura Purnima. Lochan Das fashioned a large statue of Lord Chaitanya and everyone wanted to take him out to the park to celebrate his appearance day. So we have to understand that though these names appear to be Vedic, all these people, except for Prabhupada or one or two here and there, every one of these devotees are Americans or Germans, Europeans who have taken to the path of bhakti. Bhaktadas, one devotee remembers, I first heard of Jayananda Prabhu within a few days of moving into Laguna Beach Temple. Jayananda was some sort of a legend, a very saintly person who was in San Francisco. I had some idea what a saintly person was. Someone small and thin of stature, who was very erudite, very clean, scholarly, and a good speaker. When the San Diego temple went up en masse for the Lord Chaitanya festival, we slept in the rental garage space of Valencia Street. After Mangalarti, they asked for volunteers to go to clean the park and help prepare for the festival. I had no idea who Jayananda was until I found myself riding in the front seat of an old pickup truck while he drove, with about 5 or 6 brahmacharis in the back. He was dressed in old overalls that were covered with grease and green. He had huge hands, the size of American footballs, and his fingernails had grease under them. He had a clean shaven head and a cap to keep his head warm in the early morning cold. As we were riding over the Bay Bridge, he spoke with me and made me feel at once that he was an old friend and a member of the family. I felt completely and totally at ease with him. Our service that morning was to clean the dog stool off the grass. There was dog stool everywhere. First, we were cleaning the dog stool, then hanging flags and banners in the park, and arranging the tables for serving the prasadam. Jayananda took a liking to me because I didn't mind any service. I liked being with him. He was a down to earth, practical person. Mahabuddhi, Prabhu explains or remembers. When I first came to Berkeley, I was with Bhaktadas. Jayananda was stuffing trash bags and greeted us. The Sunday feast was over and he was cleaning up. He asked me, "Who are you?" "I am Bhakta Reddy from San Diego. We are looking for the temple president so we can find out where to stay." "Well, I can probably help you, but do you mind giving me a hand with the trash?" He engaged me in taking out the trash and sweeping the floor while I was waiting for Bhaktadas to find the president. He was telling me about Lord Jagannath and what the festival was like, where we could stay, and while we were talking, we had he had me taking out the trash and cleaning the floor. That was like Jayananda, no pretense. Whatever needed to be done, he would just do it and preach at the same time. Before a big festival, Jayananda is constantly engaged in service around the clock, day after day, with just a little rest and a few big meals in between. Without such leadership, it would not be possible to have a festival. Most of the devotees are simply hippies who don't know how to direct their energy. But Jayananda can get almost anybody to do anything. Because he's so warm and friendly, no one feels like they are being ordered. Just by his association alone, everyone experiences a good feeling for Prabhupada and Krishna. Nobody ever has to ask Jayananda to do anything because he already knows what needs to be done. In this way, he is very spontaneous in his service. He loves Krishna consciousness and wants to serve 24 hours a day. So he never speaks Prajalpa. Prajalpa is time pass talk. Rather, he will bring every conversation back to Krishna consciousness. You never see him simply relax or waste time because he doesn't like to be idle, even for a moment. When he gives the Sunday feast lecture, he keeps it basic. Just chant Hare Krishna and take prasadam. Distributing prasadam and chanting Hare Krishna, that's how he likes to engage people. Although he is senior most devotee, Jayananda prefers not to give classes on a regular basis because he is not one for long intellectual discussions. Indeed, he thinks that he doesn't know as much as others. When he does give class, he talks a lot about Srila Prabhupada. Sometimes he may deviate from the text just to mention Prabhupada. He speaks more about Prabhupada than Krishna. It's always Srila Prabhupada's business, Srila Prabhupada's mission, Srila Prabhupada's work. Never for a moment does he think that his good fortune is due to any effort of his own. By always giving Prabhupada full credit for saving him, he remains completely dedicated to Prabhupada, spending every waking moment in his service. This is his heart and soul. From time to time, Jayananda likes to take the brahmachari swimming. On the drive out to the river, he jokes with the devotees or sings some of the Vaishnava songs. Along the way, they pass a peach orchard. When the peaches are ripe, he stops the vehicle and jumps up into one of the trees. After offering the whole tree to Krishna, he invites the others to climb up and join him for a peach feast. It's always fun to be with Jayananda. He is not a quite reserved person. Although around women, he is quite shy and not at all talkative. Srikanta Prabhu remembers. He took us out on many chanting parties. After chanting for a while, someone would speak. I noticed that the crowds would drift away when the speaker began. But when Jayananda spoke, the crowd would double. I was always amazed by this. He would talk about the chanting with such sincerity that people wanted to hear. One time there was a downpour. The rain was running like small rivers in the streets. Even the cars had stopped because it was raining so hard. but we danced through the streets in our bright yellow raincoats, stepping through puddles like a bunch of crazy ducks following our leader, Jayananda. We felt entirely secure in his hands. When he returned to the vehicle, Jayananda tried to end the kirtan, but we kept on going because he became so enlivened, chanting through the deluge. Finally, we agreed to step inside the van, but once we were inside, the kirtan began again. The most fantastic kirtan of my life. There was a rule that we couldn't go out after Sunday feast to distribute prasadam until the pots were cleaned. So Jayananda would go wash the pots while we all sat around and digested the feast. After he loaded the prasadam into the trucks, we would join him.